Bienvenidos a este episodio del Growth Compass. Despite that intro, I'm not fluent enough to do this episode in Spanish. Shout out to our sponsor real quick, Senders. If you want to do email deliverability correctly, you know where to find them in the description. But without them, I wouldn't be able to interview people doing amazing things like Maria José. What's going on?
Hi, Blake. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm so excited, and everything's going very well.
Awesome. Yeah, this is super awesome. What you're building, as far as I can see, online so far. So, before we get into how it's been going and where it is going, if you could give a brief introduction of yourself and what you're building.
Sure. So, I'm Maria José Echeverri. I'm from Colombia. I'm going to do a disclaimer that English is not my first language. My English is more like the Carol G English, like with the accent. I'm trying to work on that.
Oh, it's
But
great. It sounds great.
I grew here in Colombia. I'm very passionate about my country, about my people. I love what we're doing here. And that was one of the reasons why we started Colombia Tech Week. Actually, we are like five entrepreneurs that have living like the tech ecosystem from different like other ways with different other hats. And then we realized that we need to help Colombia in some way. We get into like we faced a metric that for us was very like important. It was like the 80% of the like venture capital investment that was like invested here in the country was like foreign. So in that way, we saw that was very important to have more visibility and to invite more investors to visit the country and to see that we're not living in the jungle, that we're an amazing country, that we have amazing people doing amazing things. So we really want to like shout out that things, and that was the reason why we start Colombia Tech Week. Last year we did our first version, and we're very grateful of the things that we can like did last year. We didn't imagine like that. Last year we had 11,000 attendees, 2,000 international attendees from more than 20 countries. We had 160 funds. We had more than 50 family offices. We had 157 decentralized events. We have the support of many, many, many brands, many entrepreneurs, government entities. So that was amazing because it helped us to create a conversation around our ecosystem, around the amazing things that were happening in Colombia. And one of the most important things, the talent that we have, because that's what we think that is our biggest like point differentiating. Like we think that the Colombian entrepreneurs have like this resilience because of the history that we have as a country, and also because of many things like in the context that help them to be more resilient, to have more empathy, to have a lot of energy, to have this like flavor that we say that it's very important to be always happy and like facing their problems with like a smile and keep going all the time.
So, is it specifically a group of events that you guys do, or is it also like a magazine, a journalism?
Okay, so we did like we have 2 weeks of decentralized events,
Okay.
and around that a lot of things are happening now. We're trying to show all the like in the social media why we are creating different spaces to give visibility to these founders. More in the social media we're showing that, but we don't have like a magazine. We are like this platform or of decentralized events. And more than that, what we did was we called like all the organizers of the biggest events in the country, and we say, okay, we don't need to compete for the international attention. We need to put together everything, and if we do everything on the same week, like everyone is going to come. They don't need to like choose. So if we're all together in the same week, like pushing together, like giving visibility to the country, to the events here, like everything is going to be easier. So that was what we did last year, and that's what we will be like building again for this year.
Awesome. So that's super cool. You so Just quickly before we get into what you've learned, what you have exposure to, I'm interested in the different things that you see happening in Colombia. But before last year, I guess 'cause it was last year your first event.
Yes.
Okay, so before you launched this company, what were you working on? What were you doing?
Okay, so I was the chief of staff at Mavity. Mavity is a New York startup and have like Colombian founders. I had the possibility there to learn a lot from the ecosystem because Mavity also like sell like the clients of Mavity are startups. So in that way, like in my role as chief of staff, I was also like working with the partnerships area and expanding a little bit more the brand around Latin America. So that was like the perfect work to do before Colombia Tech Week because it helped me a lot to understand the ecosystem, to understand the needs of the startups, to also meet before some funds, some startups, and I was also helping the CEO with the fundraising processes. So then there I understood a lot more about like this process. I have like the possibility to talk with some investors, to attend a lot of events like ecosystem events all around like the region and also in US. That was like our markets, and I had an amazing leader that I'm absolutely grateful, that give me like all the like that trust in me a lot, and that like give me the microphone, give me the exposure, like send me to all the trips, and that helped me a lot to like grow very fast. And also in that trips I met then like the co-founders at Colombia Tech Week. So everything like aligned. Like then when you connect the dots, you see why you like be of like part of each space and event. And yeah.
Yeah. How long were you at that company?
I stayed at Navity for 1 year. Was not very long, but it was very intense. Actually, I was lawyer, so my background is totally different than tech.
Wow, really? How long did you do that for?
So actually, I work as a lawyer for 4 years. 4 years in different like law firms, some more boutique, some other. I worked for a big four, and then I realized that maybe that was not my thing, like because before of that I had like this entrepreneurial like family, or in that was like in my blood. Like I grew up like working a lot in my family businesses, and I really like that. I really like the exposure, like being part of everything, of the mess, like doing sales, doing marketing, doing everything. So yeah, then I realized that maybe like law was not what I was thinking. It helped me a lot on the mindset, on the like the skill set that law can give you. It's very interesting, and I really like appreciate that. But now when I just like did the jump to the tech like ecosystem, my life changed absolutely. For me was like, I don't know, Disneyland, like my life just started there, and I realized that there were like a lot of places where you can work like more happy, that you can work more aligned with your purpose, that you can make impact like at the same time that you are working, and that you're like creating things, and that you are like growing as yourself and as
Yeah,
professional.
yeah. So that's so interesting because usually what I like to before we start talking about Colombia Tech Week a little bit more, what I like to ask people is usually from their experiences prior to starting their business, what helped you become the person that ultimately made that jump. So whether it's from, I'll just ask you to speak on one thing. So whether it's from your childhood, like you spoke to, or an experience that you had doing law or an experience that you had in that tech company, what helped you grow into the person that eventually said, I want to start my own business. Here is this opportunity in front of me, and I'm going to believe in myself enough to take
Okay,
it.
so I think that my family, like my great grandfather, started a business like a lot of years before. Then my grandfather continued with that business. Then my father and my aunts and my uncles and my family. So I think that I had the possibility to like grow with these when I was child. I don't know, like the pins for the products. Then my family put me one, and I was just like all around the stores and working since I was child. And that was an amazing opportunity because also my parents were like in Colombia. We have like different mindsets because here like the work in specifically in some regions as Pereiras, Medellin, where the people is very focused, like work is more like a value and the work ethics is like a value. So I think that I grew up with this mindset where my family teach me a lot about like I need to be prepared. I need to like know how the things were at the business, like at the family business. And they helped me a lot to understand that. I bought my Barbies with the commissions of selling on the store. So next to one of the biggest stores of my father, there was a big like toy store that is called Pepe Ganga. And then I went there all the time and I was like, okay, I want this Barbie, I want this toy. And my father says, okay, so you need to come and you have different options. You can, I
Wow.
don't know, sell and then you can get a commission, or you can organize, or you can go in like the papers and organize like the papers or count bills or many things. So he gave me like a lot of tasks, and then I learned how to create my own money since I was a child. And I think the most important lesson there was like he never, or my family in general, they never put me a limit. They were not like, okay, you can just buy one doll. No, you can buy as many dolls as you want if you work for it. If you want, just go after your school and do the things that you can do for creating your own money. So in that way, that was very like important thing, because then I understood since I was child that I can do whatever I want, and the limit was like the time that I dedicate and like the things that I wanted. So that was amazing. And my father also give me a lot of like opportunities to be with him. He was part of some boards, and he like took me to these boards to understand since I was a child. And after that, like when I was 15, I traveled with my friends to Disney. And in that trip to Disney, I remember that we all were like very obsessed with these, like the ice creams of Disney, the Dippin' Dots mini milk ice cream,
Okay, yeah.
like
Yeah,
Doodle
yeah.
Dot. And I came to Colombia very obsessed, and I was like, Dad, why we don't have this in Colombia? And he was like, no, maybe it's very expensive. If it is not here, maybe it is not like an interesting business. And then I called one of my uncles that was leading like the franchise industry here, and I called him and I was like, hey, why do you know about this franchise? Why it's not in Colombia? And he said like, okay, someone tried to get that franchise, was not working because they cannot produce here in Colombia, and they were like wasting a lot of money on the like transport of these. So that there is like the like another like competitor that you should research. Then I did the research. I was 15. I like just wrote an email, and I got like a call, a virtual like meeting with like the leader, like the country manager. And then maybe when he connected to the meeting, he was like, okay, this is a child, she's to buy the franchise. But my father was like, he was not taking a lot of care of this, but he was there just listening. And after like a lot of questions that I did and the presentation that he did, he just jumped into a call, made like few questions. And like 3 days before, he was in Medellin in the negotiation. And some days after that, we just like had the first shop in Cartagena. And then we started to
Wow.
grow, and we did like we also with my uncles, like my family works like very close all. And so with my uncles also, we opened different like spots. So at some point we had Cartagena, Bogota, Barranquilla, Santa Marta, Monteria, since many other like places. And that helped me a lot also to work since I was very young, to understand this model more global, to be very involved with growth, with sales, to read a lot. I interchanged a lot of books with my father. So anytime
Wow.
that I meet with him was amazing because he read one, I read another. We
Yeah.
exchange our books, and we were learning together about this. So it was amazing, and having like his advice helped me a lot. So yeah, after, yes.
Is your family still involved with that now?
No, we're not more involved on that after pandemics, you know.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
yeah, but it was an amazing opportunity, and we all learned a lot, and we like grew a lot.
That's a
That year.
crazy story.
Yeah, it is. So it was very fun.
So, okay, so I mean that's yeah, that's an amazing experience to have when and it's interesting to me that you had that experience and still went into law and didn't go into starting your own business. But when the opportunity came for Colombia Tech Week, so you said you had met the co-founders during your travels with your chief of staff job.
Yes, actually, that was. And like to connect the dots, like after that work on minimals, the last part was we start to do some like distribution points in universities and schools. So I led like all that relations with the universities and schools. And after that, I was at the university studying law in Bogota. And there was one startup that was doing something related with that. And then they called me and they said, okay, I just had my career as lawyer more like when I was at the university. I work in different like law firms. Then I quit my job because I was like in a burnout that was very hard. I was working for a big four. It was like a thing that I didn't imagine that it was like in that way. And then when I quit my job, a friend of mine invited me to an event, and on that event I just like meet a friend, and he was on that startup, and he said, okay, you're the one that can lead the partnerships for universities and schools. And because of that experience in Minimilk, I start like my process.
Okay.
And then after that, I start to grow in tech, and I get into this job as chief of staff at Mavity. And then as chief of staff, I help like this grow into more like the expansion in Latin America. So we visit different places, and we did like an internal tour in Colombia that was called like the like Colombia tour here, more like for startups and like local entrepreneurs and VCs. And then we did like a tour all around Latin America. And that both like events and like roads where we one like with the co-founders of Colombia Tech Week, with Nico, that is one of the co-founder, and with Laura. After that, we in one of that stops, we create an event at Mexico Tech Week. And Mexico Tech Week was our big reference. And then we see and like we saw how was the week, how was the dynamic. We are like we really admire the work that they have been doing. And we meet there like the founders at Mexico Tech Week, and we said like, hey, we really want to bring this concept to Colombia. What do you suggest? How you think we can do that? And they were very open. They help us a lot. They share with us like their knowledge, their experience doing Mexico Tech Week. And then we bring the idea to Colombia, but we never expect that it was what it became. Like we were expecting to do like 20 events, and we had 157 events. So like we were expecting something like very 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 small. We were doing like we were all in our different jobs, so we were
Yeah.
working like 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. in Colombia Tech Week, 9 a.m. to 5 in our jobs, 5 p.m. to 11, 12 in Colombia Tech Week, weekends in Colombia Tech Week. But we thought that we can like handle that in like in that way. And then this grew a lot. We just had like 68 sponsors, a lot of like things to like that we need to deliver and that we need to accomplish. So in that way we said like, okay, this is the moment that we need to make the jump and to dedicate full time to this, to make this really big and to have the quality and the delivers that we really want to have for this event.
All three of you?
Yes.
And when was that? That was before last year's event?
That was, yeah, that was July 1st. I remember that day because for me it was very hard to keep Mavity. I love my job there. I was like like, please don't hate me. And they were like very supportive. They were
Good.
our sponsors, everything.
Wow.
But I was like feeling so bad because I had an amazing work, I had an amazing experience, but then we have all these like responsibilities in Colombia Tech with
Yeah,
that
yeah,
we
yeah.
need. Yeah.
Well, so two questions. So the first one, what so the idea, as I understand, of Colombia Tech Week is that you feel like there's something that is not being told or showcased about tech in Colombia. What is it about the community over there, or the scene, or the companies that are there, that are not getting enough attention? Like, why was it that you guys decided on this style, this type of company, to accomplish exposure?
Okay, so different things. The first thing, as I told you, we really think that we have amazing talent. We did last year, for example, Brazil was our guest country, and we did a panel with some of the biggest funds on the region. And when we talk about like Colombian market, like even for some funds we are like the seconds on their portfolio, even we are like the third in market because of the talent. They really believe on the talent that you need to create like tech startups is like very resilient people that needs to have a lot of drive, people that needs to be very clear on their purpose, because this is very hard, this is really like challenging. So in that way you don't need, like you need to be very strong and you need to have everything very clear. And we see that on the Colombians, because I think that it is like related with the history that we have as a country, the different things that we lived when we were like almost young, and our parents and our grandparents, we grow up with this, like we're hungry about like helping people, we're hungry about helping our families. We are very like, we need to live like in society and collaborate, we know how to collaborate. So I think that we have two important points, like this talent and also the ecosystem that really help each other. Like it is very like this Silicon Valley like mindset. I really see that in Colombia.
So do you feel like people, like, is it that these talent was not getting enough attention? Is that how you felt? Like, was it hard to get a job in tech in Colombia, or is it?
I think that could be like the is not very easy, but more than that is like we really need to like the founders access to the funds, because the funds we're looking other markets, yeah, but because of the market size, like the market size is something very important when you are creating a startup, because it's one of the things that you as investor like check to invest and see if you can become a unicorn or not. In Latin America it's very hard, like just in Brazil you can like having presence in one country became like create a unicorn. If you are in the other countries you need to have enough market size. Colombia is like the third market, but more than that there are some founders that were just starting, and they don't have like the connections or the resources to fly to Silicon Valley to get there like the meetings. So this was for like as a very specific like founder, and we really want that was for like that this can be like for every founder, for all the people that were starting. And that was the reason why we really want to make the like the other dynamic, not the founders fly to Silicon Valley,
I
the
see. Okay,
Silicon Valley and the founders all around the world to come here and
got
to
it.
visit, to understand the dynamics and to understand the market and to see that we are creating like amazing things here.
So then, when you and your team talk about growth, how do you define success for Columbia Tech?
I think like the most important thing is like the connection with the purpose. So we think that what we are creating is like an excuse to talk with all the country, with all the region, and to try to create this together. We really want to be not our event, the event of the Colombians, the event of the Latin American people that feel that. So we think that the thing that we did better in growth was like making people part of this, that they don't feel that this is a free event actually, so anyone can be part of this. So how we cover this with the sponsors, that for sure they want visibility and those things, but anyone can attend Colombia Tech Week for free. So we really want
Wow.
to create opportunities for everyone and to create with a lot of people together. So I think that the most important thing to really like grow is to having that purpose clear, because when you feel something, you can make the other people feel the same way. And when we come together and we have like two things clear, we really want, we think that the way that the country can get out of like poverty cycles and all those things is with like foreign investments. So one of the areas that it have like that it's easier in some way to get this foreign investment is with tech, because you are like you're investing on the team, not just in the market. You're investing also in idea that is going to span quickly in all the region. It helps with the risk, many things, but we see in tech a big opportunity to like attract foreign investment. And the other thing is like the works in tech have like better salaries than the other industries. So if a Colombian like get a salary of $2,000, that is maybe nothing in other country, here could be almost 8 times the minimum
Yeah.
salary. So it can change like the life, not just for a person, for an entire family. So if we can create that opportunities for the tech like talent developers, product managers, marketing people, to connect them with also the employees like in the US and in other countries, and to help them to connect with global and dollarized salaries, like a lot of things can change here and quickly.
Wow. So then is your main goal as far as growth, because you led a lot of these types of things in your own life, including the partnerships and all of that, is your main goal to have more attendees, more sponsors, more investors available to Colombian entrepreneurs? Like, is it all three of those or one of them?
I think that our main goal is to have more impact. When we have more impact, we are going to have more of all the other things. Like when we really create impact and we really create something that people feel aligned and that feel like they feel that they are part of, the sponsors are going to come because they are going to have better results. The number of people that is coming is going to grow, but we're not very optimizing for the number of attendees, even if that's a metric that we have every year and it's something that we are working for and that we're putting effort on, like from our growth themes. For us, it's more important to really like impact the lives of that people. What you're going to do after Colombia Tech Week, you get inspired, you meet your next co-founder, you have like an investment, you get a new client. We really want that people can have like ROI from their presence in the event, that things happen after that. So our obsession is to make impact and to create like opportunities around that, because if not, it's just vanity metrics. Like the number of people, that's amazing, like the number of attendees, that makes you every year a bigger event, and that is going to help to close more sponsors, yes. But 15,000 people that they don't get the value of that, they're not going to come for the next year. So we don't want to make an event for 1 year. We want to create a movement. And if you want to create a movement, you need to start by the gut. You need to start by the heart. You need to connect with the people and to really like optimize for them, for their interest, for the things that you need to make things happen for everyone and create opportunities for everyone. And after that, that's going to be like an amazing multiplier of everything.
Yeah. So then what are your approaches to growing to, if what's success to you is impact, what are your strategies for increasing your impact?
Okay, so we divide, like we try to talk a lot with the attendees and to understand like what things the attendees needs. So the needs for the founders are different, for like the investors are different, for the family offices are different, for the corporates. So actually, even though we have the 15,000 attendees, like more managed by growth. We have a little area that is the area that I lead, that is audience, dedicated to understand and optimize for a representation of the founders, for all the funds, for all the family offices, for the guest country of each year, and also for the like decision makers of the corporates. We know that they're the ones that are going to like sign the investment. They're going, the ones that are going to receive the investment, they're going to be the ones that like also like hire the startup for the big business or those things. So we want to create some spaces where we can manage and understand the impact and the numbers after this. So for us, it's very important to have like the top of the top, the people that can make an impact during the week, the people that can make an investment, the people that can like close a business and all these things. And in that way, like it's different to optimize to each audience. So we really want to like, what we do is to talk with each kind of attendee and to optimize for each one. And that's the way that we create value for them, and then that's going to be like a multiplier for all the other things. So if you create value for these attendees, then next year we're going to have more attendees, then you're going to have more sponsors, then you can create a bigger event, and then in the same way everything is going to be a golden cycle that is going to work for everyone.
Got it. Wow, this is so exciting, especially the way that that you talk about it. So I have two final questions for you, and I'm excited to hear because of all the different things that you've experienced and what you guys are building. I'm curious as it relates to this idea of impact, this idea, these different communities that you're trying to foster. It's really it's a huge thing that you guys are building together. And I'm curious right now, today, what is the biggest challenge that you have? And how can you phrase it as an opportunity?
I think that one of the biggest challenge is because of our purpose. We really want that this feels like all the Colombians and all the Latin Americans feel the ownership of this, but at the same time, optimizing and having everyone happy, it's very difficult. We really try. We have a lot of areas that try to like talk with each player to take into account each founder, each corporate, each government entity, each fund. And sometimes people like take personal the things, and it's very difficult to have the like the capacity to optimize for each one, call everyone and say, okay, so we, for example, we launched 200 decentralized events where anyone can register, and there are some people that think that, okay, we need to send direct invite to everyone to take into account everyone. It's very difficult to
I see.
manage
Yeah,
like
yeah.
all the egos, to manage all the different players, but we're still trying to do that. Like, I think I really believe I love that book of Ego is the Enemy, and I think that when you're doing something, you have the possibility to like put down your like your head and still doing, even if you don't think that you need to do some things. But yeah, having happy, like having everyone happy is like a big challenge. And creating something for an entire country or an entire region,
Yeah.
like yeah, the tech industry of an entire country or an entire region, it becomes like a lot to have everyone happy. But we really try so hard. it's
Got it.
not it's not easy. People take personal some things,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that is our purpose, and we really want to be like to articulate everything and to help people understand that we all together are bigger, that we don't need to like the main tractor needs to be the country, not us, and it's difficult for some people, for some companies to understand. And for creating big things, you cannot be like the main character, you cannot be on the center of
Absolutely.
everything. You need to give the spotlight to the others, and that's the way that everyone is going to be is going to feel part of that, and it's going to connect with the purpose, and it's going to be aligned, and it's going to work for you to that cause. But yeah, I think that could be one of the biggest challenge.
Got it. Well, similar to that question, and it can be small or it can be something big that you carry with you every day. And it is what inspires you?
Whoa, that's an amazing question. I think that for me, trying to help the country is like a really, really, really big inspiration. Like I have in my blood. And I think that, like, a fun fact of Pereira, the city where I grew, is like, it's one of the cities in Latin America that have more like non-profit organizations and foundations per capita. And I grew up all my life with this like experience, and I think that helping others helps you more. And I had like this, like the opportunity to see my grandfather, like my grandfathers, and in like a lot of people in Pereira. Like we have like the our airport was built by the people. There was something that was called convites, and people give bricks one to another, and they made like chains but by people to build the airport and to build the first hospital. And I grew up all my life with these like amazing and inspiring examples. And I really think that the like something that make your life have sense is to help the others. And we all have the opportunity to help around, to help our family, to help our friends, to help the people that help us, that serve us, to help our city, help our country. And for me, it's very inspiring to having the opportunity of do a small thing. But for me, it's very inspiring to, like, I can wake up every day and work for Colombia. That's an amazing thing. That's like an honor for me to have the Colombian t-shirt, like, and to go to another countries and try to sell my country and try to bring more opportunities to my country, to my people. So that inspires me a lot, and could be romantic, but I think that if we all love what we do and if we all try to help in what we do, we can create amazing things. I think that that's also amazing about the tech ecosystem, because people in tech understand that this is not zero or sum. This is like, if we create more opportunities, we all are going to be to feel the benefits of these opportunities. So we can create together. It's not you or me, it's both. And we, like, we can create more things. We always say like 1 plus 1 is not 2, sometimes it's 3 or it's 4, because you can create bigger things when you're growing, when you're like with more people, with more minds, with more companies going into the same way. So having the opportunity to be here, like trying to aligning interest of the private companies, of the like government like sector, ministries, ambassadors, a lot of things. Like now we're involved in many diplomatic things. We work very close with different government entities. We work very close with the startups, the funds, the family offices, and having the opportunity to talk with all these people, and also to see that most of them, they have this shine on their eyes when they talk about what they do. And I think that that's an amazing thing also about the tech ecosystem, because it gives you a lot of possibilities. You are more like, it is not about the titles here. Nobody cares what you studied, if
Hmm.
you have a lot of, yeah, anything. Here is like what you do and what you believe, how you're working to create that. So I think that that's very special for me. It changed my life when I experienced other like sectors or industries that were very disconnected of that, where people was not working for a purpose, they were just working for surviving, for money. And I understand that many people need to do that, they have no other options. But there are some people that have options to do all different things more aligned with what they believe. And I think that when the people that have that possibility take that possibility, can create a lot of impact. Yeah, I think that that is one of the things that inspire me the most in the people that I have around me, that is also very inspired by the things that they do. So then it's always a shame, they inspire you and you can inspire others at the same
Yeah,
time.
Maria, that's amazing. Well, you're definitely doing it. You're definitely doing something huge and something very impactful. And I know that you're helping a lot of people with your team over there. So if there's somebody out there that's interested in reaching out or following your journey, what's the best way to keep in touch?
Okay, so like you can find me on LinkedIn as Maria José Echeverri. And also, you can find Colombia Tech Week on LinkedIn, on all the platforms, and our website. You can register to our event in our website. As I told you, this is a totally like it's a for free event.
Yeah.
So there you can join us for the week. This year is going to be from August 18 to 30. We're going to be in different
Really?
cities, Bogota and Medellin, and it's an amazing opportunity to visit Colombia, to see the things that are happening here, to inspire, to dance some salsa, to try the aguardiente, to do a lot of things. So yeah, it's a moment of the year that you're going to have a lot of fun, because I think that we as Colombians, we know how to work hard and play harder and enjoy the life. And here at Colombia Tech Week, you will see that this is a festival, a celebration of the entrepreneurs, a celebration of the ecosystem, a celebration of the country and of the region, and of the amazing things that are happening here, that are happening because a lot of people is putting effort and it's working hard to create opportunities to help like each other. Yeah.
Let's go. Let's do it. Sign up. Everybody sign up. Awesome. Maria Jose, thank you so much for your time. And I look
No,
forward
thank you.
to
It was amazing to be here.
you got it. Well, you have an awesome day, okay? We'll keep in touch.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.